Today, I'm going to be reading about ducks from the Wikipedia entry on ducks. I'm not sure if you can see it. You may have to forgive me as I'm going to be looking at my phone throughout the video, as I have not printed or anything for want of not using extra paper, so I'm going to be reading off of my phone. I hope you enjoy it, and I would also like to ask your forgiveness as there are some scientific names which I'm not sure how to pronounce in this reading. For my normal videos, I will review looking for problematic words and research their definition and pronunciation, but this is a little bit more of a casual video, and I hope that you enjoy it. Duck is the common name for numerous species in the waterfowl family Anidae, which also includes swans and geese. Ducks are divided among several subfamilies in the family Anidae. They do not represent a monophyletic group, the group of all descendants of a single common ancestral species, but a form of taxon, since swans and geese are not considered ducks. Ducks are mostly aquatic birds, mostly smaller than the swans and geese, and may be found in both fresh water and sea water. Ducks are sometimes confused with several types of unrelated water birds, with similar forms such as loons or divers, grebes, gallinules, and coots. The word duck comes from Old English deuce or diver, a derivative of the word duken, to duck, bend down low as if to get under something or dive. Because of the way many species in the dabbling duck group feed by appending, compare with the Dutch duiken and German tochen, to dive. I find that quite interesting that the name duck actually comes from the act of ducking down. That's quite interesting. This word replaced Old English enid, aenid, duck, possibly to avoid confusion with other Old English words like end, with similar forms. Other Germanic languages still have similar words for duck. For example, Dutch end duck, German end duck, and Norwegian and duck. The word enid, aenid, was inherited from the Proto-Indo-European, compare Latin, and as duck, Lithuanian, antis, duck, ancient Greek, nessa, netta, duck, and Sanskrit, ati, meaning water bird, among others. A duckling is a young duck in downy plumage, or baby duck, but in the food trade a young domestic duck which has just reached adult size and bulk, and its meat is still fully tender, is sometimes labelled as a duckling. A male duck is called a drake, and the female is called a duck, or in ornithology, a hen. Morphology. The overall body plan of ducks is elongated and broad, and the ducks are also relatively long-necked, albeit not as long-necked as the geese and swans. The body shape of diving ducks varies somewhat from this in being more rounded. The bill is usually broad and contains serrated pecten biology, which are particularly well defined in the filter-feeding species. In the case of some fishing species, the bill is long and strongly serrated. The scaled legs are strong and well developed, and are generally set far back on the body, more so in the high aquatic species. The wings are very strong and are generally short and pointed, and the flight of ducks requires fast, continuous strokes, requiring in turn strong wing muscles. 3 species of steamer duck are almost flightless. However, many species of duck are temporarily flightless while molting. They seek out protected habitat with good food supplies during this period. This molt typically precedes migration. The drakes of northern species often have extravagant plumage, but that is moulted in summer to give a more female-like appearance. The eclipse plumage. Southern resident species typically show less sexual dimorphism, although there are exceptions such as the paradise shelduck of New Zealand, which is both strikingly sexually dimorphic and in which the female's plumage is brighter than that of the male. The plumage of juvenile birds generally resembles that of the female. Over the course of evolution, female ducks have evolved to have a corkscrew-shaped vagina to prevent rape. Ducks eat a variety of food sources, such as grasses, aquatic plants, fish, insects, small amphibians, worms, and small mollusks. Dabbling ducks feed on the surface of water or on land, or as deep as they can reach by upending without completely submerging. Along the edge of the beak there is a comb-like structure called a pecten. That's what a pecten is. This strains the water squirting from the side of the beak and traps any food. The pecten is also used to preen feathers and to hold slippery food items. Diving ducks and sea ducks forage deep underwater to be able to submerge more easily. The diving ducks are heavier than dabbling ducks and therefore have more difficulty taking off to fly. A few specialized species, such as the mergansers, are adapted to catch and swallow large fish. have the characteristic wide, flat beak adapted to dredging type jobs, such as pulling up waterweed, pulling worms and small mollusks out of mud, searching for insect larvae, and bulk jobs such as dredging out, holding, turning head first, and swallowing a squirming frog. To avoid injury when digging into sediment, it has no cere, but the nostrils come out through the hard horn. The Guardian, British newspaper, published an article advising that ducks should not be fed with bread because it damages the health of the ducks and pollutes waterways. Breeding. Ducks generally only have one partner at a time, although the partnership usually only lasts for 1 year. Larger species and the more sedentary species, like fast river specialists, tend to have pair bonds that last numerous years. Most duck species breed once a year, choosing to do so in favourable conditions: spring, summer, or wet seasons. Ducks also tend to make a nest before breeding, and after hatching lead their ducks to water. Mother ducks are very caring and protective of their young, but may abandon some of their ducklings if they are physically stuck in an area they cannot get out of, such as nesting in an enclosed courtyard, or are not prospering due to genetic defects or sickness brought about by hypothermia, starvation, or disease. Ducklings can be orphaned by inconsistent late hatching, where a few eggs hatch after the mother has abandoned the nest and led her ducklings to water. Most domestic ducks neglect their eggs and ducklings, and their eggs must be hatched under a broody hen or artificially. Communication. Female mallard ducks, as well as several other species in the genus Anas, such as American and Pacific black ducks, make the classic quack sound, while males make a similar but raspier sound that is sometimes written as breeze. But despite widespread misconceptions, most species of duck do not quack. In general, ducks make a wide range of calls, ranging from whistles, cooing, yodels, and grunts. For example, the scaup, which are diving ducks, make a noise like squawk, hence their name. Calls may be loud, displaying calls, or quiet, contact calls. A common urban legend claims that quacks do not echo. However, this has been proven to be false. This myth was debunked by the Acoustics Research Centre at the University of Salford in 2003 as part of the British Association's Festival of Science. It was also debunked in one of the earlier episodes of the popular Discovery Channel television show Mythbusters. The ducks have a cosmopolitan distribution, a number of species manage to live on sub-Antarctic islands like South Georgia and the Auckland Islands. Numerous ducks have managed to establish themselves on oceanic islands such as Hawaii, New Zealand, and Kerguelen. I don't know that last one. Although many of these species and populations are threatened or have become extinct, some species, mainly those breeding in the temperate and Arctic northern hemisphere, are migratory. Those in the tropics, however, are generally not. Some ducks, particularly in Australia, where rainfall is patchy and erratic, are nomadic, seeking out the temporary lakes and pools that form after localized heavy rain. Yes, that is definitely true. We have a quite noticeable amount of nomadic ducks in Australia. You always know that it's rained recently if the ducks are about. Predators. Worldwide, ducks have many predators. Ducklings are particularly vulnerable since their inability to fly makes them easy prey, not only for predatory birds, but also for large fish like pike, crocodilians, predatory testudents such as alligator, snapping turtle, and other aquatic hunters, including fish-eating birds such as herons. Ducks' nests are raided by land-based predators, and brooding females may be caught unaware on the nest by mammals such as foxes or large birds such as hawks or owls. Adult ducks are fast flyers, but may be caught on the water by large aquatic predators, including big fish such as the Northern American muskie and the European pike. In flight, ducks are safe from all but a few predators such as humans and the peregrine falcon, which regularly uses its speed and strength to catch ducks. Ducks have many economic uses, being farmed for their meat, eggs, and feathers, particularly their down. Approximately 3 billion ducks are slaughtered each year for meat worldwide. They are also kept and bred by aviculturalists and often displayed in zoos. Almost all the varieties of domestic ducks are descended from the mallard, apart from the Muscovy duck. The call duck is another example of a domestic duck breed. Its name comes from its original use, established by hunters as a decoy to attract wild mallards from the sky into traps set for them on the ground. The call duck is the world's smallest domestic duck breed, as it weighs less than 1 kilogram, which is 2.2 pounds. Hunting. In many areas, wild ducks of various species, including ducks farmed and released into the wild, are hunted for food or sport, by shooting or formerly by being trapped using duck decoys. Because an idle floating duck or a duck squatting on land cannot reach to fly or move quickly, a sitting duck has come to mean an easy target. These ducks may be contaminated by pollutants such as PCBs. Cultural references. In 2002, psychologist Richard Wiseman and colleagues at the University of Hertfordshire, UK, finished a year-long laugh lab experiment concluding that of all animals, ducks attract the most humour and silliness. He said, if you're going to tell a joke involving an animal, make it a duck. The word duck may have become an inherently funny word in many languages, possibly because ducks are seen as silly in their looks or behaviour. Of the many ducks in fiction, many are cartoon characters such as Walt Disney's Donald Duck and Warner Brothers' Daffy Duck. Howard the Duck started as a comic character in 1973 and was made into a movie in 1986. The 1992 Disney film The Mighty Ducks, starring Emilio Estevez, chose the duck as the mascot for the fictional youth hockey team, who are protagonists of the movie based on the duck being described as a fierce fighter. This led to the duck becoming the nickname and the mascot for the eventual National Hockey League professional team Anaheim Ducks. The duck is also the nickname of the University of Oregon sports teams, as well as the Long Island Ducks minor league baseball team. Well, that actually was quite an interesting read. There are some facts there that I did not see coming. If you know what I'm thinking, put it in the comments. Thank you so much for coming and relaxing. I like reading a lot, and it seems that people like whispering. I know that I love listening to whispering, and so I think whispering Wikipedia is likely a nice series for me to get stuck into, and I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you had a break and a rest and a reprieve and a pause from your worries and concerns.